What's up everyone, SuperaTom here, and let's get straight to the point. You click on the video because you're either confused about who to choose in the upcoming banner, or you want more in-depth information to help you make a better decisions, or you can't wait for patch 2.4 and just want to consume contents. Now either way, this video is going to focus on just that. I'll be diving in-depth into the current 2.4 banner situation, as well as providing personal perspective on which character would be best for you so that you can make the most out of your hard-earned Primo Gems. If you're new to the channel guys, be sure to subscribe for more of my Supera Genshin guides, builds and tips and tricks. Now with that, let's jump into the video. Now, if you've already watched my last video on some of the advice I gave to free-to-play players on patch 2.4, we know that F2P players are in a sticky situation where our top tier Zhongli, Ganyu and Xiao are having a rerun, and there's also our new character Shenhe. That itself is already capable of having your Primo Gems saving screaming for help. However, there's also something I would like you to take into consideration today, even though it's not yet official, but the chances of these characters returning are really freaking high, which is Kazuha and Raiden Shogun's rerun in patch 2.5, who are characters you do not want to miss out on your account. Now, you may be thinking, hey Tom, isn't that pretty far down the line? We got like 6 weeks between patch 2.4 and 2.5, in which I would say yes, that's true, and I also don't normally do predictions that's far down the line like this. However, you do not want to underestimate the importance of banners coming in these 2 patches, because just Zhongli, Ganyu and Xiao in one patch alone is already insane. But since Kazuha haven't had his rerun in so long, along with it's time for our Raiden Shogun to return, because if you haven't known, new Archons has the tendency to return once every 4 patches, with Venti first in 1.0 having his return in 1.4, Zhongli 1.1 and then returning in 1.5, and now it's Raiden was in 2.1, so 2.5 is going to be a sweet spot. So guys, top tier characters are returning. If you look at the tier ranking of these characters in the Abyss, for the top 10 characters, you can already see Kazuha is number 1, Zhongli 3rd place, Bao in 4th, and then we have Ganyu. Now just a quick notice also, if you're looking at the ranking above Ganyu, all of those characters are either pure support or support DPS. Just something I want you to be aware of, to see that support character in Genshin Impact is much more important than DPS character, and Ganyu is the first DPS character to show up, indicating her top tier DPS level. Therefore guys, I do recommend you to take your time to make the best decision for your account. Even though technically speaking, if you're able to get any of these characters, it's a win for your account. Unless you're someone who already got most of the character, then it's easy for you this time. Oh, and also Kazuha and Raiden Shogun are just rerun predictions. We don't know which is the new 5-star character in 2.5 yet. It could be Yai Miko or Ayato, who's Ayaka's brother. There you go guys, it's going to be an insane 2 patches. With that being said, before you can consider which character to choose, I just want to group these characters into their role first, so that you're aware of their position in the team, which ultimately helps you decide. So normally we have DPS, sub DPS and pure support. For DPS, we have Xiao and Ganyu. Sub DPS is going to be Bao and Kazuha, and support is Zhongli and Shenhe. Now, some of you may say that Ganyu can also be a support, or Zhongli can also be a sub DPS, which is yes, they can be, because they are top tier characters, so they can perform more than one role at the same time. But here, I'm just putting these characters into the role that they're mostly used with. So with this role in mind, usually sub DPS characters are the most important due to their high support capability toward the team, as well as having the ability to provide off-field damage for your DPS character. Next is going to be support characters. However, I wouldn't say that they're any less important to sub DPS, just might be slightly lower, because what they're focusing on is either providing shield, healing or boosting your team's attack. And then DPS, as I've always said, if you've got good support characters on your team, any characters can be become a DPS, which is why the national team of Bao, Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Bennett is one of the best team comp out there, yet there's no pure DPS. And then with that, let's dive into the overview of each characters to give you a clear understanding of them. Ganyu, as I've mentioned in couple videos of mine, top tier DPS due to her insanely high DPS from her charge attack at C0 with free-to-play weapons that you can craft. But not only that, her support capability is also very good, with her burst being able to apply cryo for the team. She's really easy to play because you're just charging her shots that also deals second bloom AoE damage, making it easier to hit your target. However, this is also one of the only downside that she has, which is due to her gameplay of having only charge shot, which makes player feels boring at times. Next is Xiao, also a top tier anemo damage dealer, though a bit lower than Ganyu but not by much. What makes him a DPS that's really loved by many players is that he's really fun to play, as his attack animation looks super flashy, fast paced, and feels really good. His burst turns him into a completely different playstyle from doing plunging attack. However, Xiao has a couple of downsides in that most of his damage comes from his burst, making him quite a burst dependent character. Not only that, he loses HP during burst, which makes him quite easy to die during this time, therefore a dedicated healer on the team is needed. Then we have Zhongli, literally the best shielder in the game. No one can beat him till now because of how tanky it is. Pair that with a short cooldown duration and you're basically having an infinite shield when running Zhongli. Furthermore, his shield can reduce mobs resistant to all of our damage type, making him an insane support. Not only that, he can become a burst spam bot as well if you want to, due to low energy requirement of only 40, plus his burst also turns mobs into stone, immobilizing them for a few seconds, which is amazing as well. I seriously can't find any downside to Zhongli apart from low scaling from his normal attack, which requires more investment if you want him to be a DPS. Shenhe, we don't know all her kits at this point in time, but we do know that she's going to be a niche support for cryo characters, which makes her, I would say, the least important in all of the characters that we're looking into here in this video. Unless you love her as a character, then you'll be going for her for sure, but in terms of prioritization, since she's a supporting character, it's clearly a fact that if you don't have main DPS like Ganyu, Yular, or even Ayaka, then she's not going to provide you too much value. Then we have our two predicted but super important character, Kazuha. At first, before he was released, not many people actually wanted him because he just looks to be a flashy animation character that provides your team elemental damage increase. He does seems to have a bit of crowd control from his E skill, but that's just it. However, when he was released, oh my god, was everyone surprised. He was such a good character from top to bottom, being one of the smoothest characters to play with his beautiful attack animation along with the transition into his E skills just feels absolutely fantastic. Not only that, his support is top tier because we then realized that his crowd control ability is really good. His elemental buff toward the team is also phenomenal, and the damage output that he's able to do is really good for a quote-unquote support character. There's almost no downside to Kazuha. The only thing you need to keep in mind from him is to swirl the correct element if you want the right elemental boost. And then we have our lovely Raiden Shogun, who at first seems really cold, but once we got to know she's really sweet, not just because she likes sweet things. Now, she focuses on being a sub DPS character on your team in that she'll mostly deal damage from her burst, but what's so amazing with Raiden Shogun is her support toward your team as well. Her E skills had 100% uptime, which gives you electro application, damage over time, as well as energy particles. She also boosts your team's burst damage, and during her burst she recharges a ton of energy for your team. So Raiden is perfect for high energy cost burst team, as well as dishing out an insanely high burst damage of her own. So that's an overview of all characters. Now I want to give my personal recommendation on which character you should go with, considering you don't have any of these characters at this point in time. And this will be my personal opinion, so it's going to be your choosing to follow or not. But either way, I hope it's going to be helpful. Now, as I've just said, if you don't have any of these characters at this point in time, then the top priority character would be for you to get Zhongli. If you don't understand why, you can thank thank me later, but in short, your Genshin life, especially in the Abyss, will be so much easier that you'll feel stupid not getting him sooner. As that was actually me, I skipped him in the first patch thinking that he's not that good, just to realize otherwise when I got him. So save up your Primogems for Zhongli now if you haven't got him. Next would be Raiden Shogun due to her insane burst damage, which can already be considered as a DPS if you will, but she also gives your team burst damage increase and a ton of energy, which I'm sure the other characters in your team will appreciate, as well as her off-field damage output from her E skills. So apart from not being able to heal your team and do the cooking, she can provide your team pretty much everything else, hence why she's in the national team. And then next is Kazuha. He's basically on the same level to Raiden Shogun but slightly lower due to his lack of damage output, but his Anemo support that gives you swirl plus crowd control is just stupidly good in the Abyss, which saves you your TAM and breaks shields really easily, not to mention his ability to increase your team's elemental damage, making him the top choice across Abyss team. Then we'll have Ganyu, top tier DPS for you, will literally fit into any team of yours in the Abyss under any circumstances. After that, it's going to be Xiao because he's purely a DPS. And finally, we have Shenhe due to her niche support for cryo characters only. Now, on all of these characters, you do not need their constellation for them to do well. They're absolutely insane at C0, so if you're thinking about getting their cons, I'd recommend you to go for another character that you haven't got. And even though Kazuha and Raiden Shogun are not officially confirmed to have a rerun, I still want you guys to keep in mind to save up for these two characters if you haven't already have them. So I hope that my deep dive in these characters as well as my personal recommendation have been able to help you make a better decision on saving up for these upcoming banners. Now the Lantern Rite Festival is coming up again, and with that, MyoYo is also giving us a free 4-star characters of your choice again, and if you're still confused about which is the best character you should go with, I'll be uploading a video on that tomorrow, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on the video. Now for the time being, if you want to watch some of my other advice on patch 2.4 for free-to-play players, you can watch this video right here. With that, I hope you have a super day and see you on the next one.